Hi, my name is Manny Steamweaver. No, this is not my real-life name. It's Doug Girolamo. This is my avatar, the three-dimensional representation that I use to interact with students and other educators in Second Life, the virtual world you see around you. I teach a number of courses that make use of Second Life. Here, I'm going to talk about two courses in which I use SL extensively. I do so in order to add an experiential dimension to my students' learning. First course is called The Origins and Cultures of Virtual Worlds, and the second is a course I taught for the Department of Science, Technology, and Society called The Engineer, Ethics, and Professional Responsibility. In the Origins course for the BIS program, the entire seminar-style class is held in the virtual world of Second Life. But what better way to learn about virtual worlds than to hold a class in a virtual world? As for the Engineering Ethics course, I created simulations of challenging ethical situations that engineers typically encounter in their professional lives. What I did was create settings for role plays that my students enacted in Second Life. I'm going to introduce you briefly to the virtual world of Second Life. Note the many objects that you see behind my avatar. They were created by the residents of Second Life, its inhabitants. Second Life is a great example of Web 2.0 applications. In a Web 2.0 application, the users generate the content and knowledge, and I was inspired by this idea in my course. It's easy to move around Second Life. I'll show you. One can walk, one can run, and one can fly. I think I'm going to stop flying. Trust my avatar's resilience. Second Life is called a persistent and immersive world, virtual world. It's called a persistent virtual world because this place that you see around the avatar may be visited 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The place is always here whether or not users log on. This is because this digital environment is located on the servers of a company called Linden Labs. The virtual world of Second Life is considered to be immersive because the longer one spends in this world, in-world as the residents are likely to say, the more easily one is able to suspend disbelief about the place's reality, even though, as you can see, the place is really just ones and zeros, a digital environment. In order to add an experiential dimension to my Origins course, I had my students purchase property in Second Life, design and build a classroom, establish the rules governing the classroom, and I had them document the process. I even asked them to write about the experience of meeting neighbors and so on. I compelled them to place their experiences in the context of the ideas found in our course readings. And to do so, they created a wiki using the Google Sites application. Behind me, behind my avatar, you'll see the classroom they built. Students collaborated entirely online to build this classroom using the Google Groups application. I framed the project for them. I created charters for the various groups that were necessary and committees that were necessary to build the classroom. Students signed up for the various committees and decided on chairpersons, and they went about their task building the project. let's get in the classroom here. I'm going to sit down on this chair over here. It's a special kind of table that creates, it adds and subtracts chairs as they are needed. Let me see the chairs. Now, during our class meetings, we sat around this table and students communicated with one another and with me using voice chat, just as I'm doing now. We also communicated using text chat, like this. Typing's always a problem. So in this sense, Second Life is similar to the Blackboard application called Illuminate Live, albeit with more robust visual affordances. So this is what I did for my BIS course. I'm going to make my avatar stand up and we're going to visit the site of the engineering role plays. We're going to go to my own virtual property. Once I can find it in my inventory here. We just teleported to another plot of virtual land. And note that the land is rezzing around us, that is, it's rendering. It takes a while to do that, more or less time depending on the draw distance, that is, the distance that your avatar can see. The greater the draw distance, the more data there is to process, hence the more RAM your computer needs to process it. Note that there are buildings around us. There's a shopping mall in this big monolithic building, or this big building in front of me. Behind me there's a property owned by a person who builds in-world vehicles. But a lot of the action in a virtual world like Second Life doesn't really happen on the virtual ground. It happens above, in skyboxes that residents have created. And so we're going to visit one of the skyboxes that I've created. And here we are, we've teleported up. You can see, looking through the transparent patio deck, that is pretty high up there, virtually speaking. I built 3 of them, and we'll just go inside the skybox. See the comfortable furniture, and the role plays actually happen downstairs in this skybox. At this conference table. And what I'll do is I'll seat the avatar at the far chair. Here I am. Okay, this is where the role plays took place. I had my students do 2 role plays, one in which they confronted a professor who ran a lab about safety violations, and another in which a student students role-played the idea of a chemical engineer who's proposing a more expensive chemical that is safer for the company's workers. I'm going to stop it here. You can see sort of visually that this is somewhat realistic. And I'll get back to the Illuminate Live presentation. Thank you.